That is the stadium, isn't it?
Well, we think so.
We think so.
We've been around it twice. So
We've been around it
We
twice.
haven't seen it from this side.
We haven't seen it from yeah. We, need to
We
go
have
around
not seen him from this side.
and we definitely haven't seen it from inside yet. That's
No.
the most important thing.
Sense of humor is the sense of humor is succeeding because I'm surrounded by a lot of clever people that see the bright side of life. Brazil is just finished, and they are, unlike Portugal, candidates to win this thing. Of course, we know of the quality, we know what they can do against serious teams like Serbia. That's Grant working over there. He's been there since this morning. They got something else that, for instance, Portugal haven't got. They constant. They go and go and go and don't stop until they get what they need, and they've quality throughout. So if one day will be Rafinha, another day will be Neymar. Today was Richarlison. I was going to say something about Richarlison and Everton and Rafa Benitez, but no, I'm not going to say anything. That's it for the day. We decided to have a drink. Let me show you. Of water. That person over there is the legend, that is Raphael Honigstein, who is still recovering from what happened yesterday. Are you?
I've packed my bags.
Are you ready? You are not beating Spain.
I love it when you're overconfident. It can only work in our favour.
But the great thing is that it seems like if you had doubts of what had happened in the game, the doubts were kind of taken away by a couple of the German players who said what exactly after the game?
They were basically saying there's not enough quality in the team. Certainly not in some positions. And it's probably the truth. But to hear it from them was quite stark. And I'm not sure what it's going to do for team unity.
Yeah, that's the gist of the 3,000-word article that Raphael Honigstein has got in The Athletic, which actually I recommend you to read. Hello, it's 3:30 in the afternoon here, and I've ignored you all the way to here because there wasn't much to say. And now I'm heading to Argentina press conference with Scaloni and a player, but they don't tell you who the player is. A lot of tension there. I'll try to get to the bottom of it and tell you about it. I know Wales fans won't like this, but Iran winning is the gods of football doing their bit. They deserved it, especially in the second half, and they were forced, weren't they, to sing the anthem. The consequences of what the players did in the first game, not singing it, is still to be found out. What a brave display from them, considering the tension that they have to go through at the moment. Oh, plenty of people. It's getting busier. I'll sit here, and from here watch it all. So it's Scaloni, the manager, and Lautaro Martinez, who will be trying to answer some questions like, there's going to be many changes. It seems like Scaloni is thinking of changing the midfield. Paredes, certainly, perhaps Tagliafico, the fullback, maybe even up front as well, Papu Gomez. These are three key players, and suggesting that if you need them changing after the first game, maybe because you didn't have a clear idea of what you were supposed to do or what had to happen or the form of your players. So still finding a team that works well for Messi. That's the bottom of it. So let's see what they have to say.
Bonjour, je peux parler français?
No, only, sorry, English, Arabic or Spanish, please.
So Lautaro admits that there were mistakes being made, said it twice. I think he was referring to the way, he actually explained it later, referred to the way how Argentina attacked. They weren't patient enough, should have moved the ball quicker from side to side and eventually find the gaps. He was forced too often in behind too early, and he said hence the offsides. The Argentinian media has come out with a picture that shows that one of the offsides was an offside, but I think FIFA will dispute that. In any case, it is, he says, something in the past, and they're ready for the next thing, which is Mexico. Interestingly enough, one of the journalists mentioned that there's been clashes in the streets of Qatar between Mexico and Argentinian fans. So let's hope that doesn't translate in the stadium tomorrow.
Okay, so let's keep the press conference. And we are here to welcome Lionel Scaloni, the head coach for Argentina.
Interesting, something he says. He talks a lot about the head, and he says he was prepared for defeat because what wasn't normal was to win 35 games and then another 30. That doesn't happen, so he was prepared to lose, and so was the coaching staff. That's the first thing. Obviously, both Lautaro and Lionel Scaloni were asked about Maradona because today is 2 years since he left us, and he's got the same feeling as me. I just can't believe it. You see the pictures, you see his voice everywhere. He's on social media all the time, and well, he's gone. So he wants to. Both of them mentioned that they want to celebrate with a win tomorrow's game, and it will be dedicated to him. So let's see. Now, England, on my way to England, may do something else before that. By the way, I'm linking up with Recycling Lives, which is a charity that is close to my heart, with an amazing story behind it, which I'll be telling you in the next few days. If you want to donate and get to know more about it, there will be a link in the description. So actually, do have a look. It really is a fantastic story. Hello, I'm outside the media centre before I go to see England, and I've decided to answer some of your comments and questions on the YouTube channel mostly, on social media in general, as I don't have the time to do it as I go along because I'm too busy filming things for you and doing all the stuff for RTE and BBC and Copper Radio, etc. So I've asked Arya Jujutsu, who's the director of this Coffee with Guillems, to put some together and to chat to you that way. So for instance, Christine NG Foon is saying, thank you for doing this, Guillem. Been a fan for years, especially love your interviews. I love my interviews, but I say I love doing interviews. That's better. Be safe, and hope you find a cool button-down shirt to add to your collection of seriously cool shirts. They're all Guide London. Guide London just gives me everything I need. In fact, there is a big box that has been sent home with 30 odd new shirts that I'm looking forward to seeing when I get back to Barcelona. Hugs from Trinidad, where it's always around 30 degrees. That's why you're always so happy and in such a good mood. That temperature is brilliant. Aya says the cultural clothes that the Qatari local men wear really makes a massive difference in the heat, by the way. I imagine it does. I do love the white dress, loose dress, that traditional one that Arabs wear. I would like to wear one of those. It is very smart, and obviously it helps with the heat. De Morillo 18 says, brilliant analysis of Cristiano Ronaldo. I'm a psychotherapist, and you've touched on so many issues such as his narcissism, abandon, attachment issues. There is a story behind everyone, even the most famous. I absolutely agree with that. The best retirements come with acceptance and preparation, and unfortunately his ego is going to prevent that. Well, thank you for that, because it's something I've asked a lot. So when I do this kind of deep analysis, it doesn't come just from the top of my head. It comes from talking to people like you. So I appreciate you saying that, as I think we both analyze Ronaldo and his future in the same way. British Mix says, hi Guillem, I feel that expectations from England fans is less intense this time around, and I feel that this will help the team. I agree with you, as I truly believe the pressure on these guys that we put on them is the number one reason for us and their achieving. I don't think it's the number one reason. Football is always the reason. Yes, pressure is important, but you have to mix things in the right way. So in the famous golden generation, there wasn't the right mixture. It was the best players, the biggest names, but not the ones that fitted or creates a team. Plus there was no team spirit. That's very important. So those things are with England now, and let's see, I'm going to see England tonight. I do believe that they could kill the opposition, not just beat teams. They can kill the opposition if they're hungry enough, effective enough, and if they perform as they can. They're favourites in my eyes. Alex Sukna says, I really appreciate these videos or behind the scenes. Most of us can be there, so thank you, and keep doing those videos, please. I'll do them every day, with the exception of the last 16, because I'm going back to England and Spain to see my people, but also to be part of the FA Vast third round because of United playing at home. I may do a video of that, but the rest of the time I'll just probably be just watching the World Cup then and be back to Qatar for the quarters. Richard Lloyd, this is I listen to a lot of podcast shows with Guillem, Rafa, James, Gabriel Macotti, Julian Laurent, all great journalists with wonderful insight. And for some reason, it tickles me when we hear and see that for some tournaments, a portion of them live together. We do. It's like going to work and living with your mates for a month. That's exactly it. We've got in this one, I've explained it in one of the videos, James Horncastle, Raphael Honigstein and Grant Wall together. Normally it's Rafi, Gab and I, but this time Macotti couldn't do it. It's a shame. We already met for dinner. I'm sure I'll meet him again. I really miss him. It was a lot of fun to be with him. And yes, it is being with mates for a month. Hard working mates though, everybody works so hard. David Burke says, why so much injury time in the games? It's obviously agreed by FIFA and the referee department that has to happen. And most managers appreciate that, especially managers that dominate games and have rivals that tend to waste a lot of time. But even though I agree that more minutes is a good thing, an excessive number of minutes is not a good thing, as you're forcing the players through almost like extra time, as it was in the England game, for instance, against Iran. But I know the Spain one as well. 8 minutes at the end when the result is clear. I think you have to be more subtle and understand football a little bit more. 2-3 minutes would have done. But anyway, it's a good thing generally that there is more active football being played. Do you think Rodri will start as a centre-back in the big games? I think it was a very clever move to give more control, and it might work in the same way Pep uses Mascherano and Touré. Absolutely agree. It will depend. I think Luis Enrique had said that he will determine, depending on the game and the training and the rival, which team plays, but that he will make changes. Rodri is liked in that position very much against teams that allow to be dominated. Against bigger sides like Germany, I don't fully see it. I need to see, I think, two centre-backs, perhaps Eric Garcia and Laporte, but we will soon find out. Mashur Yam says, I didn't know he can speak English. I think he's talking about Luis Enrique. Surely next stop will be the Premier League. I think so. He hasn't got a contract after this World Cup, and I think he wants to see what's out there, but Premier League is definitely a dream of his. He couldn't do it as a player, but he will try to do it as a manager. Finally, B. Danny, hey Guillem, I want to see interviews with Rafa and James in your house. It will happen at some point. I had a little clip with Rafi about Germany. We're going to do, actually with James and Rafa, and Raphael Honigstein, we're going to do a 50-minute piece for the BBC Football Daily podcast. I may film that. I may use that if I have their permission. Right, got to go and see England. Bye. That is the stadium, isn't it?
Well, we think so.
We think so.
We've been around it twice. So
We've been around it twice.
We haven't seen it from this side.
We haven't seen it from yeah. We, need to
We
go
have
around
not
the-
seen him from this side.
and we definitely haven't seen it from inside yet. That's
No.
the most important thing.
Sense of humor is the sense of humor is succeeding because I'm surrounded by a lot of clever people that see the bright side of life, including Sid Lowe, who's sat
Hello.
next to me.
I don't know when we're going to get in.
No,
It looks nice from out
but
here.
you know,
I'd quite like to see it from in there though.
yeah, I'm enjoying the conversation anyway, so we can stay speaking for a little bit long. Anyway, how's the World Cup going for you?
You know what happens at the World Cup? You're sort of working too hard covering the games.
Yeah.
You don't actually see the place you're in. So I can tell you all sorts of things about the journey between the media centre and the flat I'm living in.
By Uber, I imagine.
No, by tube actually, by
Tube.
metro.
Oh, right,
It's
okay.
it's
You've
very
done more
close.
than me. I
It's
haven't been to
very
the
good.
tube.
But I haven't seen downtown Doha at all yet. I haven't seen
No.
the souk. I haven't really seen any fans, which is probably my fault rather than the fans' fault. It's probably that I'm not in the right part of town to see the fans. That's what the World Cup's for.
They are
In the centre.
In the centre. Trends. Do you see anything that's worthwhile?
That's a good question. Do I see trends?
For instance, I'll give you a clue. I think there's been more nil-nils than ever.
It feels like it. Admittedly, I don't know about you. I don't know if you've noticed this. And obviously, you noticed it when you work at the World Cup. The nil-nils are the ones in the middle of the day.
Oh, all right.
And the reason I say this is because I've noticed this because I've tended to be kind of focused properly on the evening games, writing during the middle of the day. So the nil-nils have tended to be the games going on the screen while I'm writing something else, which actually means I don't feel too bad about them.
Yeah, it's also the fact that the evening ones have got the bigger sides.
That's true. Bigger, and that's TV driven. So of course they're better teams and less likely to finish 0-0. Yeah.
Bear with us because we're taking these conclusions out of the blue.
Did you? I quite liked what Tata Martino said today if only because it was totally unexpected. He was asked more or less his question, and he said that the team he'd most liked was Canada.
Canada, good point.
I was really struck by that, and unfortunately, I didn't see enough of that Canada game to be able to tell you whether I agree with him or not.
Do you know who told me? I have conversations with people that are not here to see what they sing, coaches, players, so they give me clues. And somebody said Canada. There was so much fun. I can't remember who said it.
I don't remember the game. I'd say I must have seen 10 minutes of that game, if that. Probably not even that much, because that's the other thing. Like, this is the big terrible secret that we all hide. Is that you're too busy writing about the football to actually watch it.
Not me.
Not you.
No, actually, he's right. Yes, absolutely right. But let's finish it with your question to Tata Martino, which, as you were saying, Ed, I thought that's a clever question and completely different. Which
I got a laugh from the audience, but I don't know if that was a
and
laugh.
then the answer
me.
made it even better. Well, no, but the answer made it better.
So Scaloni had told us in an interview we did before the World Cup, one of these interviews I was talking about that we're kind of getting preview stuff out before the World Cup. He'd mentioned the fact that he played with Tata Martino. So, Tata Martino was coming towards the end of his career. I was a 16-year-old at Newell's, and of course he remembers this because Tata is an idol at Newell's. And we forget this, I think, sometimes. Because we look at it from the perspective of now, and we look at the fact that things didn't go very well at Barcelona. He's a real idol, of course. He was Leo Messi's dad's idol as well, which is kind of part of this. And he remembers this, so I thought, I'm going to ask Tata Martino. I said, played with Lionel Scaloni. I don't know if at that stage you saw anything in him. What do you make of his evolution as a coach?
Good
because,
question.
of course, Scaloni is a guy that no one thought was a coach as recently as 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. And he's made Argentina one of the favourites going to the World Cup, notwithstanding the defeat to Saudi Arabia. His answer was basically to laugh and to say, if I told you I remembered anything about him, I'd be telling you a massive big lie. So, there you go then.
Because
I quite like the fact that he didn't lie. He could have lied. He could have said, "Oh yeah."
He said that.
You could see
I
he was
could
a bit
start
special.
telling you about this and that, but it would be a massive big lie. That was quite funny.
He didn't lie to us.
No,
He could have done. He could have said anything.
he could have. Yeah. I would have bought it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd have been writing this piece about how Tata Martino said that the 16-year-old Lionel Scaloni was clearly a total genius.
Let's go and watch England. Sid Lowe said, "It looks like a tent in the desert."
Which I think is what it's supposed to look like, but I'm not sure.
It is. And we are in the desert. If you look around, there's nothing. Just lights at the end. But
Have you brought a ball with you?
I what? A ball? Yeah, we should. Yeah.
That's a
Nice
surface.
grass. This is somebody desperate to play football.
I'll tell you what.
Is it what, 3 months now?
Look how good that surface looks.
It really does.
Oh, it looks actually sensational.
That's where England is about. The bus doesn't go, that's the media shuttle. Because I want to say, while we are near the stadium, behind those lights, that I felt that England had two problems. One in the head. They went from to have nothing to fear in a way and feeling confident against Iran. You always wonder what happens if things don't go your way, and it didn't. And then they felt the fear to lose the ball, to lose the game. It did feel like that because the centre-backs didn't risk a lot. There wasn't a lot of players running in front of the goal either. They became cautious when they realized that the USA was pressing so well, they did that so well. And the other one was for football, for the same reason. If the centre-backs don't filter the passes to the midfielders, and there were frustration from Sterling, from Bellingham, from Mount. I saw Sterling twice dropping deep, becoming a midfielder. Factually, and I didn't get the ball, and it was like, oh, I did this, so you pass it to me. But there wasn't much of that, which meant that they couldn't link much with Kane. But as the game progressed and they didn't feel comfortable, it was about the result. It takes England to win the group, practically. I'm just talking to you and keeping an eye on the driver so he doesn't go and leaves you behind. So I better go, because this place is about 40 minutes from our place, our home, as these are the workers. Hold on, I'll show you. Because it's late and I guess they all want to go home. They don't want to be left behind. Lots of volunteers, they don't get paid. Suppose they get some gear or something. Not enough for the amount of hours that they dedicate. But yes, these tournaments are also founded on a lot of volunteering. Anyway, time to go home.